Welcome back to another episode of Brothers Blockbusters, the sibling-hosted Average Joe podcast, where each week we discuss the biggest movie and TV news and review the latest releases so you don't have to. I'm your co-host, Elliot.
I'm your co-host, Eric.
And today we're catching you up on the latest news surrounding Hollywood and reviewing the latest film in the Star Wars universe, The Mandalorian and Grogu. You ready to get started?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So we don't have too many. Again, this has kind of been a trend recently of not a ton of stories to share. There hasn't been a ton out aside from just movies overall. But we just have a couple of items to kind of walk through and talk about before we get into the review. With the first being, which I just saw, I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago. Didn't realize this was a movie, but the first trailer for Primetime, which is coming from A24, starring Robert Pattinson. So he plays Chris Hansen, which most people know who that is. The host of To Catch a Predator. So basically confronts a bunch of men who attempt to meet minors.
Yeah.
So this one's interesting because once again, Robert Pattinson's doing an American accent. We heard it last year in Mickey 17. He sounds like a dork. I don't know how to describe it.
It's weird. It's like he has like different voices. So like if I would have asked you this, hey, there's going to be a movie about Chris Hansen coming out in 3 years. Who would you think is going to play that character? Nobody would have said Robert Pattinson. Nobody.
No.
But yeah, his voice is like, it's almost like he's trying to sound like, I know he's like, you know, when you portray a real life person, you want to try your best to have the same tone of their voice. You want to try to sound like them. But I don't know, with Robert Pattinson, it just seems like he just like sits in his room and just like, all right, what voice am I going to do for this character?
Mhm.
Like if you guys have, like you said, Mickey 17, that was like the dorkiest, weirdest, squirreliest little voice you've heard. And then you hear this voice in the trailer and it's whoa.
I don't even know how to describe the voice. It's like, hi, my name is Chris Hansen. Like I don't say it's nasally. I don't want to say it's like nasally, but I don't know. I think he's perfected this like weird American accent for some reason, but
yeah, because when you see him in other movies, he sounds completely fine. Like when he was in The Batman, he sounded completely fine. But then you get in Mickey 17, you're like, what the? Hey, we're sitting here on our podcast talking about it, so clearly whatever he's doing, it's working.
Yeah, well,
I can't wait to see what he looks like, though. We got a little bit of a glimpse of what he looked like.
I mean, Chris Hansen doesn't look like anything crazy, right? Like just a normal...
No, just like a suit with the hair.
Yeah.
But Chris Hansen has a way he talks. Like he gets kind of there, so it's like, how's Robert Pattinson gonna?
Yeah,
get that
I'm sure he's gonna
portrayed.
He's gonna, I don't know, was it method acting or character acting where he's really gonna get into it. So I bet it's gonna be really good. A24 doesn't miss too often, so
no.
And this is like, you know, it's one of those movies where it's not, I don't know, super well known. Again, I didn't even know.
I had no idea.
I didn't know this was a movie until the trailer came out this week.
Yeah, I really saw it. I'm like, wait, what? And I sent it to our friend group, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go see this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. On to the second story. Sebastian Stan. We talked about him last week and a couple weeks before. He's been officially cast in the Batman Part 2, and he says, you know, quote, "I'm playing many roles in the Batman Part 2. He's working with hair and makeup teams to devise how essentially Two-Face's disfigurement will look." So
is that pretty much a confirmation that he's Harvey Dent? I mean, that's been the rumor. We talked about it.
Right.
It's been the rumor that he's going to play that role. So I'm interested. You know, Sebastian Stan's an interesting actor to me. You know, you see him kind of in different movies, right? Like obviously his main role that we all saw him in is, you know, Bucky in all the Marvel movies, and his acting in that, and into even the TV show, it's like, okay, he wasn't great, but then you see, I think the movie I saw was A Different Man. I think that's what it was called a couple years ago, where he had played a guy who had a disfigured face, and then he had surgery to remove it. He was like, the acting he did in that film was incredible. And like you see him, I completely didn't. I'd never seen The Martian, so Sebastian Stan's in The Martian. Not a big role, but then
he is.
He was in The Martian. Yeah, he was one of the crew members. He was one of the crew members. So it was him, Jessica Chastain, Kate Mara.
That's right. Forgot about her.
Oh God, what's his name? The guy who plays Ant-Man's best friend.
Are you thinking of? Oh, Michael Pena. Michael Pena.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, that's right. He's in it. Donald Glover's in it. Jeff Daniels.
I can never pronounce his name.
Oh, I'm going to get it right potentially for next week's review. So, yeah, we'll get there.
Because he's in background.
Chichil Ejiofor. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in it. I mean, it's a heck of a cast. But anyway, sidetracked. I told you every podcast we're going to talk about the Batman Part 2. And here's a little...
You're not wrong.
Not a big segment, obviously, but interesting to see. I wonder... You know, over the next, because they're shooting now, correct?
Yes, either just started or going to start.
Yeah, so you're probably going to see over the next weeks, months, We talked about it last week. You're going to see more stuff come out about this film. Maybe you'll start to see images or things about who's playing what character.
Hmm.
Again, like we said, we're in the kind of in the dark on who the villain's going to be. Harvey Dent might be playing. Obviously, Two-Face could be not the main villain, but you'll see how that turns out. But I've
Right.
heard rumors now. You and I touched on this. We talked about it. It might be a Court of Owls that could
Yeah.
be a big
Hmm.
part in this film. So that's exciting. It's something we honestly have not seen in any of the previous Batman iterations. So I'm excited. But yeah, so looks like Sebastian Stan confirmed as Harvey Dent, which is going to be
Yeah. He's an interesting actor in a good way. Like he can play the hero, but he can also play the villain, like really creepy.
yeah.
Like, I mean, he's like, and this would be perfect for that role. I mean, he's a charming guy. Harvey Dent's a charming
Sure,
guy, then
he can
gets
kind
kind
of
of
tap
turned.
into both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
Yeah. So
And
third, do you want me to go to third story?
yeah, go ahead.
So Kane Parsons, who I believe is the kind of the creator and director of Backrooms,
Hmm.
says his priority is to tell more stories in this universe, whether that be through more films, series. And we talked about this right before we started, because there's so many more rooms. So this looks like this film is based like in the backrooms, like department store esque type of thing.
Hmm.
Uh, but there are other types of backrooms that we've seen, like old abandoned, like movie theaters, water parks. So that's exciting. I mean, hopefully this movie is you know, I guess I have high expectations for it.
Yeah, it's one of those. I was doing some research on it this week because again, I don't want to see now that we're like trying to review a new movie every week. I don't want to look at like Rotten Tomato scores or reviews before I see these movies, just
Correct.
because I don't want a perceived,
Yeah, you don't want to go
idea.
into it knowing kind of what the score is. And you're like, oh, that might jade your view on.
Yeah,
It might change your view on what you actually think the movie was about.
yeah. I didn't see when we watched In the Gray. I did not see the review or the reviews beforehand, so that was
Neither
nice.
did I.
But going back to Backrooms, I was doing some research on it this week, and he filmed this. Kane Parsons did. I think they filmed it in maybe it's like Vancouver or something like that. But they filmed it only over like a month time span, maybe.
That's crazy.
So it was, and it's on a very very low budget. It's like $10 million budget. But they started filming July of last year, July 7th, and they finished August 14th. So it's only a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I like you. I have high expectations, and it's interesting that they did this film so quickly. And there's not a ton of actors in the movie, so I feel like
No,
it's more the atmosphere is what's going to do it than like probably the character development on it. Looking at
sure,
it
it's
right
going to
now.
be the whole notion of what the backrooms is, and if they can make it to where when we're watching the film, because obviously when you watch like YouTube shorts or stuff that Kane Parsons has put out, like we talked about, it's like the makes your hair stand up on the back of your neck or makes you feel uneasy. So I'm hoping in a movie format and something this big on a big screen, it's going to get you that same feeling. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited for it, and that might be our review next week. We'll have to see.
yeah, I was going through before we move on to the main review. There are a couple other movies that I think I'm seeing this week. I think Katie and I are actually gonna go see Obsession tomorrow. I've heard that's gotten like crazy good reviews. It's made like a crap ton of money. It just passed
Mm-hmm.
Mandalorian and Grogu on the domestic box office list for
Jeez.
money. Yeah. So that and then Passenger is another one, another cool horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Trailer it caught my attention when I was watching it when I was seeing In the Gray. Looks again, we love horror movies, so any type of newer, different horror movies that come out, we have potential to review. So who knows where we're gonna go with it in the next couple of weeks? Because I'm not sure if there's anything like besides Backrooms coming out. If there's anything coming out before, you know, I'm not sure what the June release schedule looks like, and maybe we'll touch on that next week. We'll go through some of the June release movies, but
I was just gonna say, yeah, we're already into that point where yeah, next episode will probably be one of the main things we talk about is the June release because there isn't a ton early on. I don't want to get
yeah.
into it because we'll talk about that next week. But yeah,
You guys
all right.
guessed it. So we posted it to our I posted it to my Instagram story, reposted it to the Brothers and Blockbusters IG, and then after the movie ended, I didn't kind of say like, "Oh hey, oh yeah, this was a movie," but I did hint at it because I posted it and said, "Hey, tune into episode 5 to see which movie we're reviewing,"
Mhm.
and I included the main title song of The Mandalorian. So hopefully that people realized and that gave it away. We did have some votes though. We did have a lot of votes. We had a
Okay,
lot
there
of
you
a
go.
lot of votes, a lot of votes for Mandalorian, but I think the one that took the vote was Obsession. So maybe that's a movie we review.
You posted the poll on your personal Instagram, then reposted it
Reposted
on.
it on our Brothers and Blockbusters Instagram. Yeah,
Okay, can you vote for it on there as well, or is it just
I
from your
don't think
personal?
so. I think it
Okay,
just takes you to my profile. So
gotcha.
got
Okay.
to figure out a way to post that to that. But yes, we are reviewing The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yep, from director Jon Favreau, who everyone. I mean, People know him as an actor, but he's also a director. He did, directed Elf, I think might have been his first movie. He
Mhm.
also did Iron Man 1 and 2, the movie Chef. He also has done I believe, the Jungle Book live action, as well as the first Lion King live action. So he's very much involved with Disney, but has gotten a pretty wide variety of different films.
His infamous movie of him in Four Christmases was probably my favorite. Just touching on that.
That is funny.
Sorry.
He was funny in that. So we have, really like four main actors in this movie.
Mhm.
Pedro Pascal plays the Mandalorian, although he really, for the most part, just voices the Mandalorian. And we'll get into it, there's very few of Pedro Pascal's face, very few scenes of his face. Jeremy Allen White, as you people know from The Bear or Shameless and The Iron Lung a few years ago, he's the voice of Rada the Hutt. Um, and then, which I thought was pretty cool, in the title credits, they listed both the Mandalorian suit performer, so the guy who's basically doing all the scenes. That's played by Brendan Wayne, and then Lateef Crowder was the stunt performer for the Mandalorian.
Okay.
So I thought it was pretty cool that they showed those two guys' names, as they really are doing most of the work for this. And then the music is Ludwig Göransson, which, if you know any kind of music in the movie universe, cinematic universe,
Yeah, he's on
he has
fire
done
right now.
so much. He is like, I think he's late 30s, early 40s,
Yeah, he's incredible.
but he's like the next, what'd you call it?
Big composer.
Big composer like Hans Zimmer. I think he's going to get to those levels, John Williams, by the time it all is said and done. So just a quick synopsis before we get into it. The evil empire has fallen, but Imperial warlords remain scattered throughout the galaxy. As the fledgling New Republic works to protect everything in the rebellion they fought for, they enlist the help of the legendary Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin and his young apprentice Grogu. This movie came out over Memorial Day weekend on a budget of about $165 million. And so far through May 27th, so about a week and a half into its release, actually not even a week and a half, a week into its release.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, if that. Its total box office, not just domestic, but worldwide box office, is about 180 million. So it has made its budget probably not as big as a typical Star Wars movie is,
Yeah.
but still it's gonna make its money, and it's gonna make a little even more. So, and currently it's only in theaters, so no Disney Plus for this. So after going through all of that, what did you think? One sentence reaction.
At times the action was warm, but at times the movie was cold.
Ah, I see what you did there. Very
Hey, you
nice.
see what I did there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was I'd say a fun, exciting adventure that stands alone in a galaxy far, far away.
I see what you did there. A little play on words.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, getting into what I thought. Obviously, we just gave our 1 cent reaction. I was surprised, I think, at how actiony this movie felt. Like, there were the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie. We saw it in IMAX. It was loud, and it
Mhm.
was like
It was really loud.
boss to the wall action.
Mhm.
Like, whoa. It felt a little more actiony than, because obviously with the show, they spend a lot more time on, plot development, character development, and they get into the action in like spurts. But this came out like hot
Mhm.
right out of the gate.
Yep.
And I thought that's one of the things for me that really worked. I thought the action was fantastic. And I know I
Yep.
say fantastic a lot, but it really was like surprisingly like, whoa, this is more action than I thought you'd ever see in a Star Wars Mandalorian Grogu film.
Mhm.
So I thought that's one of the things that I thought really worked for me.
Yeah, I thought as well as really great action. I think the set pieces were really good. Unlike the show, which is filmed on what they call the volume, which is basically like it's in a giant warehouse looking building, and the set itself is probably, I don't know, 70, 80, 90, 100 feet wide. And then behind all the way around is like an LED screen of the background. So like the
Gotcha.
desert scenes you see in the show, most of it like surrounding the characters, like in the, what I said, like 50, 100 feet is actual set they built, and then everything in the background is like, if you see it's kind of blurry, it's just the LED screen, the volume. Yeah, but for this, I don't think they used it, or at least if they did, it was very minimal. Because this really did feel like a production upgrade compared to the
Yeah,
show.
of course. Yeah.
So I thought that worked really well. I also thought it was a pretty like fun, self-contained adventure. There didn't really seem like there was much like story to come out of this. Because at the end of Mandalorian season 3, the Mandalorian kind of joins the Republic of like, I'm going to do work for you, I think is kind of how it went. And then this kind of picks up from there. So it's like you kind of have to know what happens. But at the same time, if you know like, oh, the Mandalorian, there's Baby Yoda, Grogu in this case, like the story just takes off from there. And then at the end of it, there's nothing in like the greater Star Wars universe that's like, oh my gosh, this is what's coming.
Wasn't the end of season 3 of The Mandalorian when they kinda get all the Mandalore together, and they're kinda, like, all now reunited again, trying to work to, like, a common good?
Yes, yes, that's part of it. Yeah, yep.
'Cause they defeat Moff Gideon, Bo-Katan's there, and they're kind of, like, trying to go back to Mandalore, where they all came
Hmm.
from to try to work, get the Mandalorian back to what it used to be, way back
Right.
in the day, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this, like, it and it didn't feel like in kind of in addition, like, there wasn't, like, heavy Easter eggs in this or even lore. Like, I know they mentioned some planets and some moons, and then you had, obviously, Rod of the Hutt, which is related to Jabba the Hutt, and some little things here and there, but it didn't seem like it was heavily reliant on, like, "Oh, did you see this in the background? Did you see this? This is from this movie. This is from that movie." So, I thought that worked really well for this movie. What'd you think didn't work?
I don't wanna say, like, I don't think a lot of it worked, but I remember when we were leaving the theater, it just to me, it's a little bit of a bummer how this movie turned out in a sense of it felt like you were in the middle of a season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like he was on, like you said, I think you said it best. It was like a side quest. And they built this whole movie around this quote unquote side quest that just felt like it didn't, like it matters, but like it doesn't. And to me, if you were going to go, if you wanted to throw out The Mandalorian and Grogu and you wanted to put out this big movie with these two characters, I thought you'd go a little bit bigger in
Mhm.
terms of storyline. Like, this to me just screams like I watched another half season of The Mandalorian, which
Yeah.
is fine because I love The Mandalorian. It's a great show. It's for kids, it's for adults, and I know kids are gonna love this movie because it has Grogu and it has Mandalorian, and that's getting a lot of kids back into Star Wars. But for me, just felt like a kind of a letdown in the sense of storyline, in terms of exactly what the whole plot of this movie was. It just kind of felt incomplete.
Mhm.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, no, we had this quick conversation after we got out of the movie, and just like you said, it felt like a half season's arc, like in 8 or 9 episode season of Mandalorian. This felt like it was like the middle third of the season,
Mhm.
and it didn't. There wasn't really any character development either of the
No.
Mandalorian or Grogu. It was just assumed like, oh, Mandalorian, he's a tough guy, he fights. You might see his face every once in a while, but you're not supposed to. And then
Yeah.
Grogu's just this young, force baby child, whatever
A
you want to
friend.
call him, apprentice, yeah, essentially, and he's kind of the sidekick. And he gets his moment to shine in the movie,
Oh, yeah, I mean, there
like
were
towards
parts
the
of the movie
end. And
where I was dying laughing, like, him and the little, what do you call those guys? The little maintenance workers?
yeah,
I
I
don't know
can't
what
remember their
exactly they're called.
names, but it is the same
Hilarious.
same same species as Babu Frick from
Bobby Frick, yes,
yes.
yes.
I
So
have
it's
no
like
idea
you
if they're actually named, but
no, but you
yeah.
watch that and those scenes, like, their little humor that you hear him say, like, it was hard sometimes to pick up what they were saying, but if you listen closely during the movie, like, they were saying like, they were, like, talking, like, "Oh,
Hmm.
come," like, they're walking away and Mando they're like, "Oh, we'll come back for you, Mando." Like,
Right.
just little things like that where it's like, if you didn't catch it, but that I thought worked, but because like, if you guys have if, you Star Wars fans out there who listen and you guys watch The Mandalorian, it most Mandalorian seasons have like a big in the first couple episodes, like this is the end goal. This is what we're going to start with, and then it's going to end. Kind
Hmm.
of like this is what the big kind of plot's going to be. And then in the middle of the show, en route to whatever he's trying to get to, like the end game, he goes on little missions or side quests that kind of take you away from the main story. And that's what it felt like this movie was. It's like, all right, well,
Hmm.
where's the big plot? Like this is it. Like this is what
Right.
it's going to be.
Right. There was the plot of the movie, but it wasn't, yeah, like you said, it wasn't that deep. It wasn't like a, universe altering event or anything like that.
Sure.
I wanted to mention as someone who watched The Mandalorian, all the seasons, and then
Hmm.
Book of Boba Fett and the Ahsoka show. Like, I felt like this should have been a good opportunity to like expand on that and
Hmm.
show more and see like not only what they've been up to, but what's actually the future, and what they're working towards. But this just felt like, hey, the Mandalorian show is so successful, we should just make a movie out of it, and just
Yeah,
so we can
that's what
make
it
a
felt
bunch of
like.
money. Like it basically
Yep.
was like a money grab, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, in one way it's a negative, but the other way it's a positive because like we get to see this on the big screen, we get to see a fun
Hmm.
adventure. And
Yep.
people who aren't into Star Wars or have not even watched The Mandalorian but know of the characters because of how popular they've been
Yeah.
can come and watch this and like get the same thing out of it as we do. They can be like,
Sure.
oh, this is a fun movie. This is, I like the story and get to see this guy in action without having to know too much previously.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, let's get to spoilers here. Kind of walking through the events of the film. I know we mentioned off the top, essentially the Mandalorian has started working for the New Republic. Is it New Republic? Is that what they call it now?
Yeah, before we get into this, does this take I'm assuming this time period, timeline, is this takes place after Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and before Force Awakens?
Yeah, so there's
Okay.
Force Awakens with Kylo Ren.
Yes.
That's supposed to take place 30 years after Episode 6.
Okay, so you're probably
This
sitting,
takes
like,
place
probably what,
this takes like 5
5,
to
10
10
years?
years after
Okay. Okay.
after the
Okay.
events of Episode 6. Yep.
Okay, so just kinda getting that out there, so as we get into this. So, basically, he's working for the New Republic, like you said, and he's trying to hunt down the Empire.
Yeah. Like remnants of the Empire, essentially.
Yeah,
Not
former
necessarily in the
Imperial
Outer Rim,
generals,
but
things
yeah.
like that. So he's basically because even though they just Darth Vader got destroyed, Emperor got all that stuff happened. There's still people out there who survived who were on
Mhm.
different planets, different systems, and they're still trying to keep the Empire alive. So
Right.
basically, he's with the New Republic, trying to go out there and find all these old Imperial generals and
Mhm.
people who are Empire supporters, and basically take them all down. And that's what
Yeah.
you see in the first part of the movie, which the action in that was awesome.
Yeah, that was like the first. I don't know the exact time, but it was probably 10 to 15 minutes, and that's kind of like picking up like, okay, this is what the Mando's been doing with Grogu.
Mhm.
They enter this like snow planet. I don't know exactly the planet. I don't think they ever identify it, but
Wasn't Hoth. I know that.
it was not Hoth. But yeah, do you want to kind of describe that whole 10 minutes?
Yeah, so he basically just there's this guy, probably the leader of one of the higher ups of the Empire, and he's basically telling all these people like, "Hey, we need to do this, 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 and this to try to get the Empire back to where it needs to be." And they have like a breach, and it's of course you know who it is. It's Mandalorian. It's Din Djarin. He's coming to basically take them all out.
Which felt a lot like Rogue One towards the end of Rogue One with Darth Vader, because it was like there's a lot of smoke, and all you see is him like shooting a bunch of these
Yeah,
Imperial troopers, and you don't see him you only see him light up as he's shooting it with the lasers. So I thought that
correct.
was
You
pretty
don't see
cool.
him.
Yeah.
You just see the beam just come out of his gun. You don't see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he basically is trying to get to this guy, and he's in like the guys. I don't know. They never gave us a name of who he was. He's just like an former Empire led general. He comes into this room, and the guy realizes Mando's killing all the stormtroopers, and eventually gets to this room. And this guy escapes, and cowardly runs away, and then he leaves all these other people that he's trying to lead. And Mando just walks in and stares at him. They all have guns. They all kind of put their hands in the air, and they all just point at where the guy escaped from. And Mando just
Mhm.
kind of gives like a little salute and just walks away and chases after the guy, and eventually, goes on a cool little chase
Mhm.
trying to get this guy, and he shoots up the AT-ATs,
Yep.
the AT-ATs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, shoots up those things, and the guy tries to escape, and then eventually Mando gets into a pod, and Grogu blows it up, and they end up shooting the guy down, and basically that's where it kind of leads. That's where the movie kind of begins. Is Mando like as a bounty hunter going after Imperial.
Like that could have been like one episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I
Like
was thinking, is this where this is gonna go? Is there some other bigger story here about him going after Empire? And who knows? Maybe that could have been you know, I thought maybe because the main storyline, right, is him trying to work with the two Hutts to go get their nephew, which is Jabba's son, Rada.
yes, yeah. So essentially after this first event of the movie, he goes back to the New Republic, and the commander, I think it's Commander Ward, who's
Sigourney
played by
Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver, basically is like, hey, you need to find this mysterious commander coin. And essentially the New Republic was offered like intel on him from the Hutts, the Hutt
Correct.
twins. So basically the siblings are from Jabba the Hutt, and Mando's basically got to go travel to them on their plan to see them to then get more information on this coin guy, essentially.
Yeah, Glee, what it was is, hey, you need to go here, go see the Hutts. They're basically gonna tell you they want their nephew back. Their nephew kinda went rogue, disappeared. Bring him home, and we'll give you information on this commander coin.
Right.
So I thought, that was the whole storyline. That was the whole
Mhm.
movie. That was a big plot.
That's the plot of the movie. Yep.
So I thought, if you would have made this movie into like a full Mandalorian episode, as we say,
Mhm.
this could have been like the middle part of the movie where it was a side quest. And then at the end, he kind of gets back to doing what he's doing for the main point of what the movie was supposed to be, but they just kind of kept this as the main point of the movie, which I thought was okay. To me, it just again felt incomplete. But anyway, we don't want to break down scene by scene, but basically what happened is he goes and gets, he goes and gets their nephew.
But it turns out it's not. He wasn't necessarily kidnapped like me. Kind of maybe was, but
Uh-huh.
it's essentially like Rada, who's played by Jeremy Allen White, essentially like enjoys his status as like this fighter who everyone
Yeah.
loves because he wants to basically be out of his father's shadow, which he
Yeah.
mentions like twice in the movie.
Yeah, he did. He wants
And
to
I'm
not be seen as someone as cruel as his father, but,
Yeah. So going through this whole process, he wants to kind of rescue Rada and keep him away from his aunt and uncle, the Hutt twins. So, I mean, it's a little bit of convoluted plot, but he needs to find the guy who's running this like fighting ring on this planet and basically say, hey, like I know this is your fighter, but I will pay you for his freedom. And so I can take him and then he can, go, live free, whatever.
well,
And
originally
that's where
said
like more chaos
he was gonna
ensues.
take him home. And then
Yes.
Rada tells him, like,
Yeah.
"Please don't take me home," because he realizes his aunt and uncle really don't want him home
hmm
to, like, "Hey, we want our nephew back." No, they wanna keep him there for themselves and treat him like a piece of crap.
Yeah, because that you're right on that because I think basically Rada says like I have one more fight. I'm gonna get my freedom once I win this fight. He's easily gonna win it. Mando ends up tracking down. I think it's Janu, the guy who's running this whole planet
Yeah,
basically in
his
this ring.
boss, Rada's boss.
And this guy's like, actually, the final fight, I'm gonna essentially kill him. I'm gonna put a bunch of monsters and fight him, and he's gonna die. So Mando comes back to Rada's like, hey, he's gonna kill you. Like you're not gonna survive. And Rada's like, nope, I think you're lying. I'm gonna stay here, and then gets like basically gasses Mando in like this chamber where he's staying, and chaos ensues. Mando wakes up and he's in the ring trying to fight Rada with these monsters attacking, which I thought was a really cool scene. It reminded me a lot of Attack of the Clones, where I think it's Padme and Anakin and Obi-Wan, where they're stuck in that ring and they're fighting. Was it Count Dooku that trapped him there or like put him there? But essentially, it's like these monsters that come out and are essentially they left for dead.
Kinda
And
gave me Monsters, Inc. vibes.
oh yeah, the different
Like, all
types
the
of.
monsters are coming out of the little doors that remind me of that scene when all the monsters are, like, walking through, like, coming into the
hmm
scare floor. That's what it felt like. Yeah, the one that was, like, slither around, I'm like, "Oh, that's the sloth. That's Sid. It's Sid, right?
Yeah,
Is
Sid.
that his
Yeah,
name?"
no,
That's what it
Sid the
felt like.
Sloth is from Ice Age.
That's Ice Age.
Randall,
Randall, come on, Eric. Yeah, that's what it felt like. They're all just, like, slithering around. They're all coming out to, like, their own little, like, their, like, walkout.
and there's some creepy ones too. I was like,
That
ugh,
was a little horrifying.
yeah,
Anyway, chaos ensued.
yeah, and
Rada
Rada
basically threw one of the monsters at the lasers that were kinda protecting the crowd, and it just
in
turned
the
the
ring,
power
yeah,
just went out.
power
So
went
all the
out.
monsters escaped.
hmm
And then he basically Rada tries to escape and said, "Sorry, Mando, like I can't go back." They eventually catch him, and he basically finds out. He tells Rada what the deal is. Like, "Hey, I'm taking you back to your aunt and uncle. They're going to give me information on Coin." And he goes, "I don't know why you're. I'm just going to tell you the truth. The guy who was running the rain, Janu, is the Coin, the commander."
hmm
So he ends up saying, "Okay, I trust you." So goes back. Eventually breaks into his compound or whatever you want to call it, and gets him, takes him
Yeah.
back and turns him into the New Republic. And you think,
And
all
that's
right,
kinda
cool.
like the first act of the movie, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's
that's where
sort
I
of where it
thought
ends.
maybe that could have like, all right, let's stop here with the storyline with Rada and the Huts. You got
Mhm.
Rada out, he escaped, you got him free, you got Coin. Now let's go do more important things
Yep.
that kind of have a meaning towards the Star Wars universe as a whole, right?
Right.
Kind of building towards, eventually episode 7, I guess. But they didn't. And Mando's back at, his little place of residence chilling, and a bounty
On
hunter shows
Navarro,
up,
yep.
takes him, takes Grogu. He doesn't take Grogu, takes Mando back to the Huts. Basically, the Huts hired Mando or hired this bounty hunter to take Mando because he quote unquote betrayed him, betrayed their trust.
Essentially, this is the last hour of the movie, so this is, like,
Mhm.
act 2 and then act 3 where I don't even know how to describe it, like, he's become prisoner to the Hutts instead of the bounty hunter.
Yeah. Basically, gets trapped into a big pit with a big water snake, kills it, but he gets punctured by his fang, which gets poisoned, and then Grogu shows up with the little Babu Fricks. I also call them the little mini Babu Fricks.
Yeah, at the same time, you have these little we're calling them the little Babu Fricks, because that's a character from the was that episode 9, I think they appeared? Yeah, episode 9.
Yeah,
They came to, like, help fix Mando's ship that night, but that he was, attacked and taken, so they watch it go, they watch him get taken, and they're basically on a mission to go save him as
and
he's
they
probably
basically
going to die.
getting their own little mini ship, which is hilarious.
Yeah, literally a mini ship.
Like literally a mini ship where like even Grogu's like big inside of the ship. So they
Mhm.
basically come to save him. Mando finds him, tells him like you guys need to get out of here. Like they helped him escape the pit
Oh
or
yeah,
the
which
the
was a
big
really
water thing.
crazy scene. So he essentially gets like pushed down this pit in front of where the huts, sit and lay. And there's like a giant like dragon snake monster.
Yeah, dragon snake. Yep.
That thing was creepy. Like it was like albino, super
It's like an
white.
albino. It's like an albino basilisk.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So Grogu ends up staying behind. The other guys get out. Grogu
Yeah,
stays behind, and
the little
basically,
yeah.
then you get a Grogu mission. He's just
Yeah,
on the
so I
hunt.
thought this was really cool because you haven't really seen this in The Mandalorian itself. There's like little scenes here and there throughout the show, but for this part of the movie, this felt like a very Yoda scene.
Mm.
Actually, it's like multiple scenes. It was probably 15, 20 minutes of he essentially taking care of Mando as he's
Yeah,
in, in a coma.
pretty much. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he ends up finding some random lizard man on this planet who ends up catching him. The lizard man ends up giving Grogu like some remedy to give to Mando to feed him to basically bring him back to life, and which ends up
Hmm.
working. And they eventually want to save Rada, so they get off the before they get off the planet, they save Rada. They call in all the New Republic to basically help him escape. They all get out, and that's pretty much it, right? How else does that? What else? Anything else important happen?
I mean, just like, and again, I mentioned it off the top. There's not a ton of character development in this, but I do think that like 20-minute montage of Grogu like taking care of Mando and kind of fighting for himself and trying to survive, I thought was like showing like, Mando's not going to be around forever. And he kind of mentions that too when
Mhm.
he's awake, like we take care of each other and I'm not going to be here forever. So he's like growing up. I mean, Grogu's growing up a little bit in this,
Well, it's
you
cool. I
know.
wonder where this is gonna take him. This might be a cool new little step with Grogu. It's like, all right, now he's kinda have to go on his own because, like you said, Mando's not gonna live forever, so it's kinda it was that was one part I think, again, going back to what I thought worked, I guess that scene, the 15, 20 minutes where it was just Grogu.
Hmm.
I thought it worked, but again, I just really think that whole second half of the movie could have been the middle part of them getting him out,
Hmm.
escaping, and then going on to bigger and better things, and really kinda having more of a I wouldn't say a structure, but more of like a meaningful point to the whole plot of the movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
And
I'll watch this again. I'll see it
mhm.
again,
Oh
and
yeah,
I'll
for
like it
sure.
because we love Star Wars, and we'll watch it again. But
Hmm.
it just I had such I don't know if my hopes were super high for this. I had high. I guess my expectations were a little bit higher than what they produced. I still enjoyed it. It's not my worst. It's not my least favorite Star Wars movie by any
Hmm.
means, but it's not my favorite.
No, and going into it, I mean, the talk over the last several years is all these Disney Plus Star Wars shows, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, The Mandalorian. Those core shows are gonna like culminate in a movie, and I still think they are based on what I've seen. But this, like I mentioned earlier, just seemed like a cash grab of like, oh, The Mandalorian's so successful.
Yep, Grogu's fantastic. Everyone loves Grogu. Boom.
Yeah, instead of making another season of this, season 4, let's just make it a movie
Yeah,
and, put it
yeah.
on the big screen. And like the end of this movie, like I mentioned before, like it doesn't really set up anything. Uh, Essentially, Rada the Hutt chooses to stay and work with the New Republic, and then Mando and Grogu kind of just take off in the Razor Crest, which is his
Yep.
ship, and then Mando like basically starts teaching Grogu how to fly because Grogu was hitting buttons early in the movie,
Sure,
and
so maybe that's part of a piece towards down the line where Grogu's gonna
yeah,
have to who knows, maybe the next movie, next series, season, he's gonna
hmm,
have to fly the plane, fly the ship, who knows?
right.
But
So
just a little disappointed, but like we said, I thought the performances were okay, the writing, is what it is, but it's a rewatchable movie, I think it's one, if you're ever bored and you wanna throw a Star Wars movie on,
mhm.
you could throw this on, but
And you get to see a little bit of Pedro Pascal for
yeah,
I don't know, 5 minutes maybe.
yeah. So I think
But
it's main I really do think this is mainly for all the younger kids who love Grogu.
yeah, and you want to bring them into they've seen all this stuff on Disney Plus. Now you want to bring them to the theater and see like what this is what Star Wars can look like on the big screen kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
I guess for us old heads, it's a little disappointing because I think I just again I think there was just so much potential that you could have done with this. So I
hmm,
guess I felt like it was a little bit of a letdown for me. But final verdict. Let's get into our scores.
hmm,
Elliot, what did you give it overall? And then kind of hit your categories.
yep. So I gave it a 76 out of 100. Again, not my top movie of the year by any stretch, but again, still enjoyed it. What about you?
I ended it with 73, so a little bit lower than you. It's
Okay.
not my it's not my lowest rated movie of the year. I think my lowest rated so far, I gave Wuthering Heights a 71, so it's kinda right around there. But yeah, again, like I said, a little disappointed with it. 73 for me, kinda get into the main 2 primary categories, story and script. I gave it a 16,
Okay.
a little bit lower than you, I think. Again, I didn't mind it if it was a TV show. I think
Right.
this would have been a great middle part of like a 6 episodes, season. Probably would have been good for episodes like 3 and 4,
Hmm.
but I just thought there was so much more that you could have done with this. So,
Yeah,
I was a
I
little
generally
disappointed with
agree.
the
I
story and
gave
the
it
script.
I gave it an 18. Again, like it felt like the story of, we've, hit it on the head a bunch of times already, but like in half a season of The Mandalorian. So I feel like they could have fleshed it out a little better and again made it better, but maybe that wasn't their goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give it an 18. And then that second category or that second rating out of the primary category section is characters and acting. I gave it a 20 out of 25. Again, not bad, not great. The acting I thought was fine. I thought it was good. I mean, it's really hard to get bad acting in Star Wars. I mean, well, you can quote that in some of those prequel movies, but I thought the characters were good, just not a ton of development. I feel like it was just more of a action movie with not much
Substance
change in
to
what
it.
these characters, I don't know if they learned anything throughout the movie. They just kind of
Sure.
ended where they started.
Yeah, I gave it a little bit lower. I gave it an 18. Pedro Pascal, I thought as Din Djarin. I mean, Mandalorian's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, right? He's like when you watch these Star Wars movies, you have certain characters who are like, "Oh, that guy just oozes aura." Like, he's so cool.
He's like a cowboy, right? Like I mean, that's what
Yeah.
this like Mandalorian's
Yeah.
based off,
So
like
it's
a
like,
western.
you look like Luke Skywalker was cool. Han
Mhm.
Solo was cool. Anakin before he, turned what Anakin turned into was cool. Mando is like awesome. Like
Mhm.
the whole style, what he does, how he goes about his business, like the one-liners. Like I said at the top of the show, I can take you in warm or cold.
Mhm.
Like just like mic drop type lines, the way he goes about it. So I try to give it, I thought he was again, it
Mhm.
felt like Mando didn't change. His character didn't change, I thought, in this movie. But like the other characters for me, it's like the Hutts, okay. I mean, that's just continuation a little bit from the show. I'm pretty sure they were in the Book of Boba Fett, the
Yes.
Hutts.
Yes, that's where we first saw these two
So
specifically.
these two, you have Grogu, and Grogu was obviously, I think he was the star of
Mhm.
I think he was the star of the movie. But like all the other characters, like Sigourney Weaver's character I thought was horrible. Like to me, she was pointless. It wasn't great, and it's just the other characters to me just didn't really do it for me. Again, high hopes.
Yeah, I mean, we even mentioned Zeb, who is like basically Mando's pilot or co-pilot. I don't
Yeah.
even know what kind of creature he is, but he's from Rebels and a couple
Sure,
other
and he's like
things.
he was just kinda thrown in like, that's the thing that you and I talked
Right.
about. I'm like,
He was just kind of
he
thrown
was
in
kind of
there.
thrown in there, and it's like, who is this guy? You never
Mhm.
get his name. He's just there. But if you didn't watch any of the previous, like, what you said, Rebels, or I think was he in Ahsoka too?
That sounds right. Yeah.
So it's just like, I didn't see any of that, so I was like, I don't know who the hell this guy is. The only reason I knew who he was is because you mentioned it to me, B, I kinda watched a recap of just to kinda refresh my memory of what happened in The
Mhm.
Mandalorian, and they kinda touched on these other shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, 18, and I think that to me might be a little bit generous.
Yep.
So,
And their secondary categories, direction, execution, I gave it a 7. Again, like it wasn't bad directing and they executed, I think, what they wanted to,
yeah.
but it just kind of felt bland a little bit.
Also had it a 7. I think you're right. I think with what they wanted to accomplish, I
Mhm.
think they did it. But again, there was still so much meat left on the bone of this that I thought they could have done a lot better.
Yep.
Entertainment value, I originally had it at like a 7, but after going back and remembering how I felt during the movie, especially with all those high-end action scenes, I gave it a 9.
Yeah, that's what I did. I
Like,
mean, it's action scenes. I mean, it's fun for the whole family. Like
mhm.
it's a fun movie. Like if you went into it not having high expectations and just wanted to see a fun action movie, then you got it.
Yeah, if you had no
You'll
like
enjoy it.
background Star Wars or like minimal background and you'd never seen The Mandalorian, you probably would have came out of this movie loving it.
Yep. Yep.
So, gave it a 9. Originality, creativity, I originally had it at a 6.
That's what I have.
I bumped it up a little bit to I bumped it up to a 7. Maybe I should have kept it at a 6, but 6 or 7, I mean, 6, 7, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I, I have it at a 6. I thought it was just a retread of the show itself.
Correct.
Nothing really changed much, and I
Yeah,
just
nothing
didn't.
groundbreaking.
No, and it didn't have to be right, but as part of an overall movie rating, like you have to take this into account.
Sure.
And they didn't do anything groundbreaking. They didn't do anything that hadn't been done before, and
Yeah.
it wasn't as creative as it could have been. So yeah, I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I had it at a 7.
Emotional impact, I had a 7.
7. I
I
had it a little bit had it lower, and
yeah,
then
I
there were a
originally had it
couple
lower.
couple scenes in there where you're like, "Okay, this is kinda pulling on the strings a little bit,"
Mhm.
especially when he was Grogu's trying to get him to wake up, and he's going through all what he's trying to go through to make sure Mandalorian wakes up, and, you know, it got me to a 7, but, you kinda go through the Rada stuff with what he's going through too, but,
Mhm.
again, you're trying to care about a character in a quick span of a movie that you've never seen before. It's kinda hard to have an emotional tie to it.
Right, and the background of it is like, "Oh, I was Jabba the Hutt's kid." Like, okay,
Fuck
that
Jabba the Hutt. I mean, what are we talking
right,
about?
right, I know. It's like, I was his kid, I'm trying to, like, not be like him, like, okay, that's, like, basically
Cool.
all he told us to make us, like, feel for him. Yeah, so I had 7 out of 10, and then personal bias and enjoyment, I gave it a 9. Similar to
Okay.
entertainment value, like, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. In terms of, like, expectations, if that was a category, like, met expectations, I would've put it at, like, a 5 because it didn't.
Sure.
But in terms of going to the movies, watching this for 2 hours, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and when it comes on to streaming, I'll watch it again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had it at a 9 as well. It's good. Like, again, I'm trying to take out, you know, what I thought could have been better or what I thought could have been done in terms of, like,
Mhm,
did I try alright, when you see a movie and we give these scores, like, when you sat down, whether you're in the theater, watching it home on the couch, did you enjoy it? Was it something you liked? And I liked it. I mean, I liked parts of it, not the whole thing. I liked parts of it. So I don't know if that's worthy of a 9. Maybe that's an 8 or a 7, but keep it at a 9, so that gives me a 73. Elliot, you're at a 76, so just a few ticks higher. In terms of watch now, watch later, watch never, again, I feel like the first few movies of this were kinda towing that line of, is it watch now, is it watch later? We haven't had a watch never, and I don't think this is that because it's a Star Wars movie, and
mhm,
you have your Star Wars audiences, so if for, a few people that are not Star Wars fans at all, have never seen anything, yeah, you're probably never gonna watch this.
right,
Right. But for me, I think it probably is if you wanna go see it in IMAX and you have an opportunity to go see it in the IMAX theater, go see it. I think you'll enjoy it. I think the
mhm,
sounds, the big seeing the Mandalorian on the big screen is really cool
it
because you've
is.
only seen it on TV. But if you don't really care about that and you're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go see it at a regular theater," you can
Yeah.
watch it when it comes on streaming.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you have a good, decent setup, sound setup, which I think a lot of people do nowadays just because of the access to everything,
Yeah.
yeah, wait for it to come on Disney Plus and watch it, and you'll still have a really good time.
Yep, I'm with you.
Alright, ready to get into our last segment?
That wraps up our final verdict on Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. So now we'll get into our final segment. So changing it up a little bit,
Mhm,
just kind of since it's a Star Wars themed movie, we thought, with some of these bigger movies in sense of like Star Wars or some Marvel movies or maybe some other type of movies, like when Christopher Nolan, The Odyssey comes out, maybe we'll go through some Christopher Nolan, his discography.
yep,
So what we want to do for this one, we're going to do two little bit different things here. Elliot, I want you to give me your top 3 most fun Star Wars movies. So
alright, yeah,
you'll go with most fun, and then when I go, I will give you just my top 3, my
mhm.
personal opinion of best movies. So, do you wanna start from 3 to 1, or do you wanna go from, 1 to down to 3? Do you wanna go with 3 to 1?
I'll go 3 to 1. I'll go 3 to 1.
Okay. Alright, so number 3 for you, most fun Star Wars film.
Yeah, so I wanted to do a little bit different. Instead of doing the top Star Wars movies, best Star Wars movies, which is what you're doing, I figured I would switch it up a little bit, especially because we're around the subject of Mandalorian Grogu,
Mm,
and this is, probably not going to be the top, the favorite best movie out of all the Star Wars movies. But I'm like, it was fun, so let's do like a top, fun movies. Um, so number 3 for me is Episode 7, The Force Awakens. So I thought this was like the first Star Wars film I saw in theaters as an adult,
makes sense, yep.
and it was the first Star Wars movie I saw opening weekend. I think Revenge of the Sith, and I'll potentially get to Revenge of the Sith. I was a lot younger for that, but this one I was in college. It was like the start of a new era for Star Wars. I was an adult, so I was able to like really fully process this and try to enjoy it.
Yeah, it was
Um,
right after we got out of I remember we right after we got out of the semester for the winter. It was right before Christmas.
mhm.
So it was a fun time going to the theater to see this because I mean, we hadn't seen a Star Wars movie hadn't come out in theater since
uh, it was Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith,
It was 10 years
right?
before
So
that. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. It's weird that it was only 10 years apart.
Was it
I
10
thought
years
it was
apart?
longer. Yeah, it was '05 was Revenge of the Sith, I think, and then this was 2015.
Wow, I can't believe this movie came out 11 years ago. That's crazy.
So that was I that's automatically bumps it up for me. Like it's the first one I've
Yeah.
seen as an adult. And then Kylo Ren, I thought was a pretty cool character. Again, felt very much like a Darth Vader, and there's a lot of retread in this movie to like New Hope.
It very much it's basically just a modern take on episode 4,
Right.
which is
And
fine.
that's my other point of like our generation's A New Hope. And it's while it is like kind of a retread, it still was it was cool to
Vi
see Star Wars with this kind of technology.
Oh, visually, it was stunning. I
Like the
remember seeing this
lightsaber
in
battles, like the scene, I think it was in it was some forest with the snow and Kylo Ren's fighting. Well,
Ray.
it was Rey, but wasn't it Finn, and Finn couldn't really handle it.
Yes.
Uh, and then Rey, yeah, that fight
Yeah,
between
that
Rey,
scene
and that's where
alone,
she
it
gave him the
was.
scar on his
Yes.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all that kind of combined made it a pretty fun movie for me. But that's episode 7, Force Awakens. Number 2 is the movie we just watched, Mandalorian Grogu.
Wow, okay, so that's
Yeah.
high.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And again, this is not best movie. This isn't expectations wise. I thought the action was really good. And again, this could be recency bias as well, but it felt very much like a half a season of the show, which I really love.
Mhm.
It was like a Western, it felt kind of like a Western where he's,
Yep.
literally a bounty hunter going out, doing his job, going home, collecting his bounty. And the music was just fantastic. Having Ludwig Göransson as the composer for this movie and in the show just makes it so much better, especially that first opening scene. So that was my number 2. And then number 1, my favorite, most fun. I mean,
Most
maybe my
fun.
favorite, but most fun is episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So this came
I
out when I was 10 and I think you were 12. So like we were, in
remember we
middle
saw this with
school.
dad. I think we saw it with dad and, grandpa.
Yeah, I think I ended up seeing it 2 or 3 times in theaters. That's how much I liked the movie. And I thought it was, General Grievous was really cool with, the multiple lightsabers, multiple arms. Basically Anakin's transformation from, because what's going to happen, right? Like even as a 10-year-old, I knew like he's
Correct.
going to be Darth Vader.
Correct.
And throughout the whole movie, you're like, dude, just do that. Don't make that decision. And you think like there's a chance that he doesn't make the decision and there's
Yeah.
like a different ending and he doesn't become Darth Vader. Like the moment where Mace Windu gets killed, where he basically had Palpatine on his heels and then Anakin kind of turns there. And yeah, that's pretty sad. And then I also thought it was really I don't know why this stuck out to me, but he becomes Darth Vader. When you think of Darth Vader, you think of like the whole suit and the armor and all that. But
Yes.
he was Darth Vader before that all happened. Like when he turns to the dark side, that's where he becomes, renamed as Darth Vader. So like the last like 30, 45 minutes of the movie, he's not, Anakin anymore. He's Darth Vader. But he
Just
still
going
looks
on
like
a
Anakin.
tear, dude.
Just going on a
He went on
tear,
Tear.
killing younglings.
Poor kids.
But
He just
I
said,
thought
"Fuck them kids."
he did. Master Anakin. It was
We're not cutting this, but you sounded like Dobby.
now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Master Anakin is giving me a sock.
And then lightsaber just says head off. But again, this is the first Star Wars film I ever saw in theaters. I was
Yeah.
10 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. Seeing like this is like the Darth Vader movie. So you see his origin essentially in this movie. Again, like I said, General Grievous was awesome. All these wielding lightsabers. And I think, at that age we were also playing like Star Wars video games, like
Lego
Battlefront,
Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars. So a
Lego
lot of
Star Wars, dude.
it all just
How
kind
many
of
times did we
culminated.
come home from the pool from swim practice and we just hop on Lego Star Wars and play it for like 3 hours? So yeah, it kind of was a culmination for you, for
Yeah.
us.
And then I was Darth Vader one year, maybe 2 years for Halloween.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it all came to a head there when I was 10 and really enjoyed it. Was easily my most fun Star Wars movie.
All right, so Elliot's top 3 most fun Star Wars movies. Number 3, Force Awakens, Episode 7. Number 2, The Mandalorian and Grogu. And number 1, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
All right. So now you're up. So you're doing top 3 Star Wars films. So is this your favorite top 3 favorite or top 3 like the best Star Wars films?
I think they're the same thing for me. It's,
Okay.
I don't think I have any of these movies in my letterbox yet. I haven't given them scores. So as I watch all these movies again and start
Mhm.
giving them all scores, you guys will start seeing these, trickle in. But these are going to be my 3 personal favorite / best, I think, Star Wars movies.
Okay.
Of the, how many now is it? 11? 12.
12, because you have
12.
the 9 main ones.
Yep.
You have the Mandalorian and Grogu, Rogue One, and
Solo.
Han Solo. Yep.
All right. So number 3 for me is Episode 3.
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith. Pretty much for everything you just said. I think at the time it wasn't as revered as it is now, I think. I think over the last 20 years, I think people have grown to appreciate that movie.
Yeah.
And I think again, and I say this for me, it seems to me, and as I'm going through these movies that we're reviewing and we're ranking, mm, it seems like something about the last 45 minutes to an 30 to 45 minutes of a movie is kind of what gets me. Kind of
It can make
like
or break it, right?
it can make
Like,
or break it.
yeah.
And I think the last like you everything you said, Anakin's transition into Darth Vader, even without the suit, that last lightsaber fight scene with him and Obi-Wan. I mean, it's just
That gives
perfect.
you like it gives you chills when they're going down that,
Oh yeah.
volcanic ash, and you know what's gonna happen. Like,
And
you
you
just
know
know it's
what's
not
gonna
gonna.
happen, but you're hoping and hoping that it doesn't.
Mhm.
But you know it's going to. And
Yeah.
that's the hard thing about that movie, but I think over time, I've grown to love this movie, and I think it's everything that I think they wanted it to be, and I think it just elevated the prequels, the first 2.
Oh, yeah. I
The
think
first
the
2 were,
expectations were so high for this
yes.
one because the first 2 were more, were not as good.
Yeah.
And then I think you said, like, it's like kinda I don't wanna say it's a cult classic, but it's gotten more revered as it's gone over time in the last 20 years.
And I don't think it's one of those where everyone's like, "Oh, like, we're review bombing it now, like, we're review hyping it up." I think
Mhm.
it's genuinely people are appreciating
Yeah.
how good that movie actually was.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the again, like we talked about, we talk about character development, plot lines, one of the better character development of the main 9.
Mhm.
So, that is my number 3 movie. Number 2, any guesses? Number 2.
I think it's gotta be one of the originals, so it's probably I mean, episode 4, it's probably episode 5. It's gotta be Empire Strikes Back, right? I mean, that's like the
It is
Star
Empire
Wars
Strikes
movie,
Back.
right?
Yeah, it is Empire Strikes Back. The New Hope, very episode 4 was very slow building,
Mhm.
right? It's the original Star Wars. It's what all of our parents grew up, everyone's parents grew up seeing, and I know dad loves that movie. Episode 5 to me is just it doesn't stop. Everything about what happens in that film, with Luke getting stuck with the Tauntaun, getting stuck in the ice on Hoth, and
Mhm.
then Han Solo getting frozen, cryo frozen or cryo freeze, whatever you want to call it. Him eventually revealing Darth Vader and Luke having that last battle,
Mhm.
and eventually revealing to himself that he's his father and he wants him to join.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, that's pretty good market. That's pretty good Luke Skywalker right there. Just the entire build up, knowing that's where that was leading to,
Mhm.
I think was just that movie. It's just like, like how like I know I mentioned this in the previous episode, like Barney Stinson with his "You have to rise" all the
Mhm.
time. That movie just kept rising. It just didn't stop. It just consistently like it's hard. I really wanted to put that at 1, but it stays at number 2 for me.
And
Great
I think I
movie.
know you're one then.
Yeah, everyone like look, I think if you're a Star Wars fan and you don't like this movie, you're just wrong. My number 1 movie, Rogue One, is number 1. I remember seeing this in theaters and it just blew me out of the effing water. Like, it gives me chills talking about how that movie it's Star Wars, and you don't get any lightsabers, you don't get any of the prequels, the originals. It it feels like you're in Star Wars though, because it is, but
Well,
it's not
you
like
might
the
get a
main stuff.
lightsaber at the last 30 seconds. Yeah,
Yes, I
I
was
know.
gonna get to that. Yes, but the character development, the
Oh my
plot,
gosh, yeah.
it's A plus, S plus, whatever people want to call it, how people are ranking this now, knowing exactly what it was leading to and
Mhm.
what they were building for and how they tied the whole end right into going into A New Hope, right? And they
Yeah.
show Leia getting the transmission. And it's like, because when you watch the original movie, episode 4, she gets the transmission, Obi-Wan, help me, you're our only hope. Okay, cool. They took that and showed how Leia got that message. And that whole all the characters with Cassian Andor, Jane Erso, like all of it. I that movie, I can't wait because I'm watching Andor right now.
I
Like
mean,
you
the
told
movie was
me,
so good that they made a
yeah,
show, like a prequel to the prequel.
yes,
That's how good it was. Yeah.
yeah. And that show is honestly probably my once I finish it, I'll let you know, but it might be my favorite Star Wars thing ever put out,
Mhm.
more so than any movie. And I love Rogue One and I love Empire Strikes Back and obviously all the other movies, but Rogue One to me, and then the last scene. Are we
Yeah.
kidding me? That might be the best scene in any Star Wars film ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Just
alarm, the 10 bell alarms going off. You don't know what's happening, the smoke, and then you just see the fucking red lightsaber, and it's just you're hoping, and you know you kind of have an idea. It's like they're gonna get it off, they're gonna get it there, she's gonna get it, but you don't know, and it's just like the tense, just the you could feel like the room, like holy shit,
And
this
then you
isn't
see
the
the red light up, the saber with the smoke. Yeah. Yeah.
can't be
And
it.
when I see that too, I like try to picture Anakin Skywalker underneath that. It's
Yeah,
just so
I
weird
do
of
that
like
too.
how
I do
much he
that too.
turned. I'm like, wow, that's how bad
Yeah,
it got.
yeah.
But yeah.
So Rogue One, and I know some people think that's a hot take. I don't think it is. I
No, I think it
think
was one of
it's
those things like when it came out, it was loved. Like, oh my gosh, this is a really good Star Wars movie. It's different than most Star Wars movies.
correct.
And it like grew like, oh, this actually might be the best like movie out of the Star Wars universe. And it got to that point where
Yes,
like everyone's like, why would this be the best Star Wars movie? There's no lightsabers, like there's no
correct,
main
correct. And
characters in here.
I get that in the sense, but I think in terms of everything about what you want in just a film,
Mm-hmm.
it's number one. So,
Yep.
for me, my top 3 Star Wars movies, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith is number 3, Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back is number 2, and then Rogue One, is number 1. Now, get into 4 and 5 just for a quick teaser for you people out there. A New Hope was number 4, Episode
Mm-hmm.
4 was number 4, and then I had a hot take with number 5,
I think I know what it is.
Episode 8,
Episode 8, Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
Yeah.
That movie was
we could talk a whole episode on that.
Yep,
That one,
yep.
it's weird because I think the consensus is like the movie itself was really good, but in terms of what it like, it had no direction, had no setup for what happened in the previous movie, and then what happened to the what's going to happen in the next movie. It was just
Yep.
like I don't know. I got to watch it again because
Mhm.
I really want to actually like review it and rate it. But yeah, that was in our opinions, both our opinions, that was a fantastic movie.
I remember,
Yeah.
I think I remember one year we were on, it was 4th of July, and we went to Boom, and we were staying at your apartment, and I think I woke up middle of the morning, and I can't remember who it was, but that movie was just playing on your TV at like 8 in the morning. I'm like, what is happening?
That's funny. That's funny.
So, all right. So, other than that,
Yeah. Do you have
and we'll do,
anything else
no,
is on your mind?
no, and like Elliot and I said, we'll do more of these little things like this, especially with big movies. So, when Odyssey comes out, we might dedicate a segment to giving us our top 5 Christopher Nolan films.
Mm-hmm.
When Avengers comes out, Doomsday, or when Spider-Man comes out, maybe we just rank the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies,
Mm-hmm.
including the new one, and then maybe when Avengers Doomsday comes out, maybe we'll do like, we could do top 5 favorite Marvel movies, we could do top 5, rank our Avengers movies, or maybe even do like a Marvel movie draft,
Right.
where we just kind of draft a bunch of Marvel movies and post that list and get people talking and get, more engagement of just different things instead of
Mhm.
just saying like, hey, here's what we're watching, just kind of get you guys involved. And then I know that this, for Star Wars listeners, this is going to strike up a conversation. So I'm looking forward
yeah.
to people listening, texting me. So other than that, I haven't been watching much. I threw on Mission Impossible. It was on,
Mhm.
can't remember, I was just scrolling, trying to find a movie, and I saw Ghost Protocol was on. So I threw that one on, watched that one, watched Rogue Nation. Now I'm starting Fallout. So I was like, crap, I'm getting
It's
back into my
crazy
Mission
how much
Impossible.
better they got as the series
Oh,
went
it's
on.
insane. Like the first Mission Impossible, I thought was actually really good for the time.
Mhm.
The second one was horrible. Like,
Yeah.
horrible. And then the only thing that saved the third Mission Impossible was Philip Seymour Hoffman. Was
Mhm.
unbelievable. But yeah, as we got going, so I've been watching that, starting Fallout. I think I got the first 10 minutes into
Nice.
Fallout. On episode like 4 or 5 of Andor, trying to get that done so I can get back into Rogue One and give my official review of that. And then we talked about it. I watched The Martian for the first
Yes.
time.
Yep.
Finished that last night. Haven't given it a review yet or a score, but that's coming in the next couple days. But that movie was awesome. Again, it did, like, obviously same book, same author as Project Hail Mary, but great movie. Matt Damon
Mhm.
was excellent. Matt Damon's such a great actor, so loved it. So that's all I've been watching. You watching anything else? Doing anything?
This week, no. Back to work. So been a little busy, a little tired, and honestly, the focus this week was our little Mandalorian and Grogu. So yeah, not much else. But I think next week we'll have more. Or at least I'll have more. I'm looking to start Spider Noir. That came out. That released all 8 episodes on Prime Video
Yep,
yesterday.
yep. I saw
So I'm gonna try to watch that over the next few days because I heard good things about it, and
Awesome.
Nick Cage is awesome in almost everything he does. So looking forward to
that.
watching it,
Especially when he's looking for clues.
especially when he's looking for clues. Ready to wrap it up?
Ready to wrap
All
it up?
right. So that's it for this week's episode of Brothers and Blockbusters. If you enjoyed the episode, follow the show, leave a review wherever you get your podcast. It genuinely helps more than you think. More reviews mean more exposure to our lovely voices. Share the podcast with your friends, family, enemies, or anyone you know. If you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at brothersandblockbusters@gmail.com or visit our Instagram page. Also within the podcast apps, it has all that information as well. So if
Yeah.
you can't find it, wherever you consume any of this stuff, you can find our information and our personal information as well. Next week, we are reviewing the new sci-fi horror film Backrooms.
Yes, Backrooms.
So it's exciting. Been waiting for this one for a while. Can't wait to see it. Thanks for listening. We will see you next week.
See you next week.